Hey there, crafters and stashers. Welcome to the CraftStash podcast. I'm your host, Kim. This is episode 118. Don't call it a comeback. Hey! Welcome back! It's a comeback. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. I have missed podcasting. I've missed you guys so much. Where have you been? Where have I been? It's been just about a month since I podcasted, which seems like forever, given that I tried to be podcasting once a week. But I'm back, so who cares about where I was, right? I'll tell you about that for sure. So, like I said, my name's Kim. I'm recording from inside my apartment because it is fall and chilly out, and it's 7:55 and dark as night out. 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, it'd still be light out. So I'm mourning that a little bit, but I'm so happy it's fall. It's my favorite season. You can tell I'm wearing this bright ass sweater. It's not hand knit, but it could be. That's always what we say as knitters, right? Yeah, and it's a good time, and I'm looking around because I realize I don't have my wine near me, but that's okay. It's going to be a quick episode, so quick that I won't miss having a sip of wine right now. There's going to be a little bit of what I'm crafting, a little bit of what I'm stashing, and hopefully more than a little bit of periphery. So let's get started. What am I crafting? So last time we talked, I had just finished a massive project, the huppah for my sister's wedding. That was a month ago. I'm kind of over it. I kind of fell into a craft funk afterwards. It was kind of like I was missing my baby because I had given my sister the huppah and she loved it. It was amazing. The wedding was wonderful. And pretty much right after the wedding, I went to a meditation retreat where I snuck in some knitting. But ever since I finished the huppah, I kind of had lost my knitting mojo. So believe it or not, I only have 2 whips, and one of them is like 98% done, and the other one is like 80% done. So I'm kind of slowing down on the crafting a little bit, and that's kind of why I haven't been podcasting. Just some withdrawal, and also just kind of being slow on projects. So what am I working on? One of the things that I'm working on is a little bit intimidating. It's a sweater that I started maybe 2 years ago. It's the everyday linen raglan from Purl. It's a free pattern from the Purl blog, and it's pretty much done because here's the first half of the sweater. I have to remember where my focus angle here is with this camera. Right, so sleeves all done, midriff pretty much done, still on the needles as you can see. And then here's the rest of my sweater. It's literally like somebody cut my sweater in half. And all I gotta do is, this is the craziest, maybe stupidest thing I've ever done, is I just gotta Kitchener the entire midsection of the sweater together. Dun dun dun! I know. But it's okay, I know I can do it because, I don't know if you guys can tell, probably can't because I can't really zoom in too well with the way I have the camera set up, but the body of the sweater was knit top down. The sleeves were done assuming that it was going to be bottom up, so the sleeves are actually Kitchenered. I've got Franken sleeves, and you can kind of tell a tiny bit probably. So the idea was that I actually started this sweater 2 years ago per the pattern instructions, going bottom up from the hem up. And I did both sleeves first, and then I did the sweater bottom from the bottom up. And then I put it down because it was a sock yarn sweater. This is a sock yarn weight yarn. It's hedgehog fibers in the lovely color Fool's Day, which was, I think, handpicked by Stephen West. And it was knit on size 6s. And 2 years ago, I got pretty far, and I was like, I'm done with this, and put it down. And then when I picked it up this year, I was like, I have so much of this sweater done, 2 sleeves in the bottom. Why can't I finish it? And I said, oh, I can't finish it because I hate doing sweaters bottom up. I just know that about myself now, having made 3 sweaters, whereas 2 years ago I hadn't made 1 sweater. So I said, okay, you know what? I've got good stuff going. I'm not going to rip this stuff out. I'm just going to make a hybrid. I'm going to work the rest of the sweater from the top down, starting at the neckline and work down, and then when I get to a joining point, I'll just Kitchener. That's not so bad, right? And it's actually not so bad. I'm sure that once I wash everything and block everything, it'll pretty much even out. But I don't know if you guys can see what's happening is that the gauge of the sleeves is much tighter, and not to say even, but like tighter than the gauge of the body. And the same thing with the bottom. Technically it's the same gauge, I measured it, but the stitches are just a little bit more open and loose feeling. So if I were able to zoom in, and maybe I will try. Let me try and zoom in, give me one sec. So I don't know if you guys can see that. Come on, camera, you can do it. Right, you can see, there we go, that's a better view. That about right there is where the sweater was joined. So the gauge up here is just a little bit looser than the gauge down here. And to the layperson, it's not that big of a deal. Let me just fix the zoom again, sorry. You know, it's so weird what I just did. For any of you guys who have this camera, it's the EOS Rebel T5i. It's an amazing camera. It's a pancake autofocusing lens. But what I have to do is I sit so far back so you can see my whole face. But that means that we can't zoom in and do that. So when I want to zoom in, I actually have to like use my toes to like press the focus button. But that's why it's cool to have long toenails or long toes. I have my, anyway, too much talking about my feet. I'm sorry. Where was I? You saw it. The gauge was slightly different. So I slowed down a little bit because this was my illegal knitting at the meditation retreat. The meditation retreat was amazing. I was not supposed to bring anything with me, but I couldn't do that and not go crazy, so I brought some knitting. And I pretty much finished the sweater at my meditation retreat. Don't tell them I said that. But then I thought I was going to finish it because I joined the sleeves on the train ride home, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. But then I'm like, geez, I have to Kitchener 420 stitches now. And that's just, you know, you got to be in the right state of head to do something like that. And I just haven't been in the right state of head, so that's one of the things that I'm working on. Quick stats, it's the Everyday Linen Raglan free sweater pattern from Purl B. It's in Hedgehog Fibers sock yarn on size 6 circular needles. So that's one thing I'm working on. The other thing that I'm working on that I'll probably be done next week to show you guys is a pair of socks, but you've kind of already seen them. Because it's fall and because the weather's cooler, I'm also spinning again. So exciting. Oh my god. So I missed you guys. Did you miss me and my crazy ass? I hope so. I hope you guys are still out there watching. But if you're not, I'll just be podcasting to empty space. It's okay. I don't know if you guys remember these guys. This is a spindle that I got from, let me take some fiber off of it, Maryland Sheep and Wool. This is a Tibetan spindle, and again, I gotta work on my angles. It's a Tibetan spindle from Spanish Peacock, and I was lucky enough to get it in a set from Spanish Peacock at that fair. And the fiber on it is also fiber that I got from Maryland Sheep and Wool from, guess who? Kate of Gourmet Stash. I pretty much only ever buy stuff from her now. Yeah, so now that it's fall, I can kind of do this and not have my hands be sweaty and not feel like I'm, you know, grabbing a bunch of my own hair and spinning it, which is kind of annoying. So I'm really excited about this. It's just regular, pretty thin spinning actually, as long draw as I can possibly do. I'm trying to get better at that. So it's a nice relaxing project that I do in the evenings when I get home and when I don't want to have to confront the sweater. But yeah, I think that's kind of it with what I'm crafting in terms of if I had lessons learned to share. I think that's the new thing that I want to try and do with the podcast now is what's new and different about what I'm learning to do. With the spinning, it would definitely be, oh, and if you care about the fiber, sorry. These are tribbles in the super pretty sparkle colorway. It's Superfine Merino, Yak, Tussled Silk, Bamboo, and Angelina. It's a very, very fun spin. It's about 2 ounces of this stuff. I'm keeping it in one of the bags that Kate sells her stuff in. The lesson learned with the spinning is I spin, obviously supported, semi-long draw. If you've ever tried to spin supported, there's this really neat thing that you can do. It's almost like continuous spinning. And what I've been doing is as I spin, I watch this one particular video on YouTube. I'll put the link at the bottom. It's Susan Glenart Stevens, who is also known as Flegel. She has two different videos on YouTube when she's spinning. One's on a Russian, one's on a Turkish. But she basically uses the same kind of slow motion spinning technique to almost spin continuously as she's inserting twist. And what she basically does is keep, instead of having the fiber kind of go up and twisting like this, sorry I can't demonstrate right now, you wouldn't really be able to see it, she holds the fiber out to the side and spins. This way she can go very far out from her hand and not have to kind of go stretch up. It's a slight difference, but watch the video, you'll see what I mean. And it's a really cool technique, and I've been trying to practice that so I can kind of keep spinning out to the side without having to kind of go up, which makes me more tired. If you go up and you're not tired, that's all to the good, but you know, if you do get tired, maybe try going out to the side. And the lesson learned for the sweater project is really all about the Kitchenering, and the fact that Kitchenering is really not that hard once you recognize that it's two basic motions. And maybe I'll talk about that later, because there's a specific way that I've memorized it that helps me kind of keep in the rhythm. But the quick lesson learned for Kitchenering is never stop in the middle. This is going to get a little bit technical, but there's a way that when you Kitchener, you kind of have to go into the first stitch knitwise and then immediately go into the second stitch purlwise. Count that as one fluid motion, because if you count it as two different steps, you might forget which half you've already done. And then if you put down the product and come back, or even just pause to talk to someone for a second and then look at your work, it's not as easy to kind of figure out where you are if you don't just tell yourself, hey, it's one step, so do both things. Never not do both things at the same time. But I'll explain more next time we talk about it. So those are my lessons learned. What am I stashing? I'm stashing fun stuff, and like I said, I've kind of been on a yarn diet unofficially. I have plenty of yarn. Oh, it looks like my camera might die. Give me one sec. I'm going to keep on going, and if it dies, it dies. I've kind of been on a yarn diet whereby I kind of have everything that I need, so I'm not buying stuff unless it's like screaming at me. So the things that have been screaming at me are as lovely colorways by our dear friend Kate of Gourmet Stash, and colors that we just know about, right, that I'm going to love. Teals, greens, and grays. So this is her punk rock colorway on her. She's recently started dyeing sock yarn. Well, she recently started dyeing yarn and fiber instead of just kind of making up poonies and fiber blends. So this is 430 yards of a fingering weight sock yarn. And as you can see, hopefully, it's this really fun, a deep sprucey teal, black and white, gray, and this really bright acidy green that I'm very excited about. And it coordinates very nicely with another one of her sock yarns that I scored when she started dyeing this stuff up in the dark Mermaid scales colorway, which is so much fun. But these are going to make a fun cowl. I think I pretty much exclusively am doing cowls lately, so yeah. So that's an acquisition of Stash, both of those, and then fiber to match, because I realized that I'm really comfortable spinning on spindles, but I spin so fine on spindles, I want to really start practicing spinning thicker. So I got this fiber exclusively to do on my Hanson mini spinner to try and spin DK weight, like a fast and furious, but fast and furious thicker yarn. And again, the colors almost perfectly coordinate, right? It's kind of ridiculous how much I stay in the color family of comfort, but that's okay. And these are tribbles in her I Belong to You, Mon Cœur s'ouvre à tu vois colorway, inspired by her favorite band, which is Muse. And it's also merino, Angelina, yak, silk, and bamboo. So it's a mix that I enjoy spinning. Let's see how it reacts on my spinning wheel. But that's what I'm stashing. So are you guys ready for a little bit of periphery? Because I sure am. So what have you guys been up to? Know that I only have about 5 minutes left of recording time on my camera, and I also am trying to keep the episodes shorter anyway. Oh wait, one last stash acquisition. I met up with some of my Instagram Ravelry peeps over the weekend. We all met up at Nitty City for a spinning group. JAK829, I want to say, who is known as Knits and Giggles on Instagram, and Bronx Knitter, who is Sharon. We all got together with a couple of their friends to spin together at Knitty City, and because I was there, I like to buy stuff when I go to local yarn shops, which is why I don't go very often. But Knitty City carries fiber now, which is great because Sweet Georgia came up with her fall 2014 colors. And this bourbon color was the only color that I was like, that looks very tasty. But I didn't buy it because online buying, whatever. Trying not to do that. But it was in the shop, so I had to buy it. This is just plain old boring BFL. But it's such a great colorway. The colorway is called Bourbon. And again, teal, gray, and the breakout color comfort zone would be the honey brown that you see. So that's another acquisition. But now, back to Periphery. This is where I wish I had my glass of vino. I miss podcasting. I miss you guys. I definitely think of you guys as my online friends. Not to say that online friend is any better or worse than a real life or like in-person friends, but it's a wonderful community, and I really did miss and really do miss podcasting. Again, I was just kind of in like a funk after having completed that huge 9-month-long HOPA project, and also going away to a meditation retreat, which was, I gotta tell you, all right, I gotta do the, let's get comfy and chat. I gotta tell you, it was so much fun. I basically went to a meditation retreat in Shelburne, Massachusetts. The organization is called Dharma Dara. The website is, I think, dharma.dara.org, to learn a type of meditation called Vipassana Meditation, which is basically something that's focused on your breath and being aware and in tune with sensations that happen in your body. I'll probably talk about it a little bit more. Long story short, it was a very immersive 10-day silent retreat where we didn't talk to our fellow meditators. We didn't make eye contact with our fellow meditators. We woke up at 4:30 a.m. to the sound of a gong. We went to bed at 9:30 p.m. every single day. We had about 6 hours of meditation a day, 3 hours together in a hall and 3 hours on our own in our rooms. And even more than that, if you could stomach more than that. We could only talk for the first half day that we were there and the last half day that we were there. But it was amazing. I went basically to kind of learn to focus and quiet my mind because it's crazy. I didn't go there to become a Buddha or to get enlightened, but it was so wonderful. I highly recommend, if you can take 10 days off or 12 days off and do it. You know, it was my vacation time, but whatevs. It was totally worth it. I feel like I definitely get more focused nowadays. I try and meditate every day. You know, after you leave, there's a big component of meditate for 2 hours every day, which is kind of hard. I try to do it for an hour a day. I've done it maybe 5 out of the 7 days of every week so far, which is good. And the other component that you walk away is service. So either volunteering at the meditation center, or kind of just, you know, just practicing and sitting with other people who have done it before. So I don't know if I'm going to go back anytime soon because it's 10 days of vacation, but anyway, just thought I'd mention it. And the other thing is, if you're interested in quick meditation, there's a really cool app that I found called Headspace. It's free, and it starts off with a 10-day meditation that starts at 10 days, 10 minutes a day, and then if you like it, you sign up for more meditation, and it gets longer and longer and longer, up to an hour. So I'm using it and I love it. If you end up downloading it and liking it, let me know, because we can like link up and like follow each other and like cheer each other on for meditation. So I would say that as well. But it was pretty cool. What else can I say? Summer was fun. It was short. It was cool in New York. I don't know how it was by you guys, but it didn't really feel like summer. It never really got super, super hot, which was awesome because we were outside all the time. And I think, you know, that's kind of it. I'm hanging out with my new cat, Lava. Greg moved out of his art studio, so this is his art bench next door, and his art sofa, couch, armoire, chair. Did I say armoire? I meant whatever. Small couch, chair, comfy chair is what I'm sitting on right now, and it's kind of my meditation love seat. No, what is that called? Lazy boy? Armchair. Armchair. Armoire. So that's kind of where I'm sitting right now. So the apartment is in an interesting state of flux, but life is good, and I hope stuff is good with you guys, and I promise to be back next week. Sorry if you thought I was pod fading or whatever. Thank you guys to those of you who reached out. I'm so sorry that the Ravelry group was being quiet. But I'm back. I never left. Hence the title, LL Cool J song. If you get the reference, awesome. If you don't, it's okay. Don't call it a comeback. I'm still here. Anyway, so I will see you guys sometime soon, next week, for another episode. And please reach out. I'm on Ravelry. I'm on the Instagrams. And that's kind of it. I don't do the Twitters, but you can hit me up there. And I will see you online, if not in real life. If you can't craft it, stash it. Cheers. Bye.